So I was saying, early childhood, I don't have memories of seeing much of the films because in our household, my grandfather used to be very against television and films and stuff like that. But we had kind of habit of listening to stories. So my grandmother used to tell us lots of stories, and we used to read a lot from Ramayana, Mahabharata, and stuff like that. And we would go as a child in our imagination how things were, and that fantasy world of all the epics really influenced me as a storyteller. Later, when television came to our household, the Doordarshan, the afternoon National Award films used to be shown of various languages, and I used to get awed. I would not understand anything, but I used to get awed by those films and the way they were being told, the camera work and the sound and the dialogues and the acting and stuff like that. I would not understand any of these definitions that time at all. The songs of Chitrahar and the Sunday evening films, old films shown on Doordarshan. I can say that these are early influences for me. And later, when DD Metro came into being, the world cinema came into my life. Like I saw Tarkovsky that time, I saw Ray that time, I saw many other filmmakers which I would never have heard. I would I discovered Tarkovsky again in film school. I would not know which Tarkovsky, which like people laugh at it, which whiskey and stuff like that. But so those images remained in my mind, and that's all. That's all I can say. My first interest in cinematography was all by accident. I had a friend in my class whose brother has left his engineering career and became a photographer, and I used to hang around with him. We could not afford a camera and stuff like that, but I would be really intrigued by the way he was taking photograph. He would be passionately behind the lens and waiting for those moments, and he showed me none of his friends and none of his brothers were interested. And when he saw my interest in hanging around with him, he used to share his photographs and his books, photography books with me, and that's how I got probably interested in photography. But I did not have any interest or idea that I will become a cinematographer one day. Not a chance, because in our household we were completely engineering, management, and stuff like that in middle class family. We were typical middle Indian middle class family. All my cousins are in some vice presidents and CEOs and stuff like that, and I was also going to be one of them. I was pursuing my career in software engineering. One fine day, I said, "This is enough. I can't survive this closed environment and being best coder in the world and go to US and be the part of Silicon Valley." I said no, and then joined a film school in Pune. Unfortunately, I learned there. So, like I was saying, one of my cousins had given entrance for FTI for an editing course, and he was not selected. I said, "Why would you not be selected there?" And I was bugged with my software, and I was also interning for one of the major software giants at that time. Uh, I would say my cousin inspired me to go chuck my current the career of that time and do and follow my heart. And my heart was uh, with filmmaking, I think, which I came to realize once I joined FTII. During my stay in FTII, I had honed my skills, I think, and I did not know how industry functions at all. Many of my batchmates and my seniors used to come to Bombay and work with cinematographers, work in production houses. But I did not have any idea how everything works. I was training myself as a cinematographer. I was working hard. I was going by the book. I was doing everything in the book to train myself. I was making a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes I made in during my stay in FTI. Uh, and we were fortunate to get all the material because it is one of the best film schools in the world, and third best film schools in our country. We had everything to our disposal. At end of the course, I thought I have already become a cinematographer. When course finished, and there was a time where I had to choose where do I go to work. I was thoroughly confused whether I should go to Calcutta, whether I should go to Bombay. I wanted to assist two, three people, but all the people were from South, like Santosh Shivan and Venu and stuff like that. I tried to approach them, but it did not work out because of the language barrier and stuff and their busy schedule. So I dropped that idea. I came to Bombay. I was exploring, and I started working as an independent cinematographer. I did not assist anyone for doing assisting at all. I started doing documentaries. I started doing corporate films. I started doing whatever was coming my way. Uh, that's all. But yes, a couple of my seniors asked me to assist them because they needed assistant that time, and their regular assistant had ran away. So I did assist Prakash Kutti in one of his films called Tum Mile as an associate, and as well as also worked as a second unit cinematographer. That was also a long, long time back. But apart from him, I don't remember assisting anyone at all. But yes, assisting helps in a way of actually, if once you're a graduate of a film school like FTII, my personal feeling is that you don't need to assist anyone. You can find your own path, but assisting helps you to understand the industry where you're working and how the industry works. What are the nuances of the industry? How the big production or small production is getting lined up? Because when you're in film school, everything is given to you. You are not dependent on, and you're not asking someone to give you work. But when you come out of the film school, you are asking someone to give you work as a cinematographer. So these are two completely different things. Assisting helps you in two ways. One, how the industry works, to understand how the industry works. And second, what style of working you want to follow. And how do you adjust yourself. So two film projects came by me. So I was, like I said, I was working with Prakash Kutti. So he had started independent film, and he was sure that he would not be continuing this film till the end of the schedule because he was becoming a busy cinematographer. So he called me, be part of my team, and then you take over this film project after 1 week of my shooting. So I joined him, and that was way back in 2006, just out of the institute. I was fortunate to get an independent offer just after the institute in 2006 itself. And the film was called Vatsala. It got made, but it never got released. And just after that, I got a mail from Hemant Gaba that he's making his first film, and he's based in US, and he's a software person, and he wants to meet me. I said, okay, terrific. And when we met, we kind of liked each other, and that's how my first film on film got materialized. It's called Shuttlecock Boys, and that remains very close to my heart, and Hemant remains one of the best persons I have ever worked with. For me, two things become very important when I'm looking for a project. The script has to have a engaging narrative, number one, and second thing, it should invoke an experience inside me. I don't look at a script only from cinematography point of view. I look at script from a complete film point of view. I think like a filmmaker. What is the script telling me? Is it appealing to me as a viewer? Is it appealing to me as an artist? Is it appealing to me as a cinematographer? So these three factors I take into account. See, I'm a learned cinematographer. I have studied cinematography in film school, but I have during last decade I have come across many brilliant cinematographers who have not gone to any film school and they have learned cinematography on the job. Subrata Mitra was not a learned cinematographer; he was a photographer. Satyajit Ray took him as a cinematographer because he was a good photographer. So it mix of both. You can learn cinematography, but while practicing the cinematography on ground, on field, you have to have the intuition as well, and you have to be intuitive because there are so many decisions you take, not only because you have learned cinematography, but it is the demand of that particular moment. Because filmmaking is such a vast and vast area where many things can be planned, but all your plan can go wrong. And at that moment in time, you have to take many decisions to make things happen. So I would say it's mix of very good mix of both. You have to be intuitive as a cinematographer as well as you learn cinematography as an art form. The last film which got released of mine was called Wedding Anniversary, which starred Nana Patekar, Mahi Gill, Priyanshu Chatterjee, and lead roles. That film was very good film for me in terms of because I was working with big artists for the first time. So I got to understand many things, the dynamics of working with stars and dynamics of working with big people and how silently you can work with veteran actors like Nana around and like that. And the script was also very nice. I was very excited about the film. I don't know how film did on box office because that's not a cinematographer's area of concern. But as a filmmaker, as an artist, as a cinematographer, I really enjoyed working there. And recently, I have come. Just now, I have returned from hill town of Dehradun. I was shooting a comedy film. It was an out-and-out comedy. It's untitled right now. So I quite enjoyed the entire process of being part of a comedy film where there are so many people and there are so many ideas floating. And the film is like Malamal Weekly and Dhamal in that category. So I'm reading five scripts right now, and all are on different genres. I'm pretty excited that a couple of them are commercial projects, and a couple of them are very artistic and very sensible projects in my hand. That it's very premature to give the details whom I'm talking to, what are the projects which is going on right now. But I'm really excited that 3-4 films are going to be shot this year, which are being talked, and they are almost confirming. The dates are being confirmed right now. I'm really excited about coming time. Every cinematographer wants to work on films which are exciting and have large scale and appeals to audience and go being appreciated by many people. So my dream projects are a lot. There are so many films which I would want to be part of, and I want to get associated with many of the filmmakers who are in our country and as well as outside. So yeah. So right now, when I think of it, my most memorable blunder is long back when we were doing a multi-camera setup, and the digital technology was just coming into being. It was long back, and I was working on one of the digital cameras, the action sequence was going on, and I was handling the camera which was next to the blast scene. I was most close to the glass setup with the safety glass in front of camera, and I'm putting myself under bunker. And when I switched on the camera, the directors started saying action, roll camera. Camera was rolling, and action director said blast, and the car in front of me got blasted. And I was holding camera, and by mistake, at that particular time, I switched it off. my hand went like this and it switched off the camera, and then I realized, oh my god, it switched it off, and then I switched it on again. When they replay the footage, the chunk which was blasted, it was not there in the tape. And I was like, oh my god, what did I do? And I said, I don't know what happened. I could not tell anyone that this is what happened. Fortunately, there were 10 cameras, so they got footage and they were not very bothered. But that camera was the most crucial camera that time. And that I have not told this to anyone till now. I'm telling this to you. My first film, which I shot with Hemant, Shuttlecock Boys, it remains close to my heart because we really gave our 100% in terms of we were passionate. We had no budget. We had to do everything by ourselves. But as a cinematographer, the film called Ballad of Rustam, which was shortlisted in 2014 Oscars, and produced and directed by one of my seniors from film school, Ajita Suchitravira. Till now, that is my best work. I feel that because I really prepared for that film for more than 2 years. And apart from that, every film like Wedding Anniversary is also very close to my heart because first time I worked on a glamour photography the way I see myself right now. That's all. Otherwise, all the films remain very close, and all the work remains very close to my heart. Whether it is commercial, whether it's documentaries, which I have done many documentaries. All the documentaries and work I have done for Satyamev Jayate, while I've traveled all over the country for more than 3 years, that also remains very close to my heart. Now the technology is such that it has become really, really easy to make films nowadays. So I would advise filmmakers to work on script because what we are lacking right now are good scripts coming from young filmmakers. Because nowadays accessibility towards camera and sound and editing machine has become really, really easy. That also I feel has made us a little bit frivolous in our approach towards filmmaking. But now, if you really work on your script diligently and tell your narrative, present your narrative in a better form, just go out and make it whatever you wanted to make because the technology is with you. I tend to read a lot. I read everything under the sun. Like I read fiction, I read non-fiction, I listen to every kind of music, from Western classical to Indian classical to Bollywood to Oriental music to blues. Everything I listen depends on what is the mood of the day and what I want to listen to that time. Like I said, I read a lot. I read a lot of Hindi literature. I read lots of international literature. Nowadays, I am reading lots of philosophy that also interests me, and also lots of poetry. So it's very difficult to pinpoint what is my taste because I read and listen, and I am a lot. Like one can say that I consume a lot of things every time. I've been a member of WICA for some time now, and it has helped me in many ways. The one is getting my payments from the producers whenever it has got stuck. Uh, for my payment and my assistant's payment, they have really come into picture and broken the piece, brokered the piece with. And it has got sorted amicably. The second thing which they have done, they have provided a very good contract support system to their members, which has really helped a lot of their members like me and many of my colleagues. Third thing they have done, they keep sending you emails and about the latest technology and keep organizing the workshops about the latest technology which is happening in the field of cinematography and invite not only the cinematographers but also the filmmakers. So I think WICA is really doing a good job and I would request them to keep doing it. and be more active about it.